You could be like, hey, I'm like the best player at X game, and the brand's like, cool, here's a jersey. And that could go the other way where it's just like, hey, I want like paid travel to events, I want sponsored gear, I want all this stuff, and then they're like, bro, you have like 5 followers. How do I say don't ask for stuff in a way that doesn't sound like extremely generic?
This is a big thing that like when it comes to like working with brands is like, you know, like if you want to do a charity for them or you actually want to enter like a formal partnership with them, like follow their social media, comment on some of their stuff, and you know, if something comes up, something comes up.
Yep.
Like I'm doing a charity stream soon with a group, and like they watched my stuff for a little bit. They investigated me. You know, like they spent time with me before they even asked. It's like, hey, I know you do charity streams. Did you want to do this with our team? And you know, they spent time with me first, and you got to do that to them too.
Yep.
You got to follow their stuff, comment on their posts. Because if you ask out of the blue, and like you said, ask super generically, they don't know who you are. They don't know what you're about. Now they have to do this entire investigation process just to see if you're a good fit for them. But they're not gonna do that unless they have the time. Which if it's a busy company, they're not gonna often have time. But if you've been on their posts for like a couple months and they're like, oh, it's so and so, they usually comment on our posts, and somebody was like, yeah, I checked them out, and they're pretty cool. Like that conversation goes a lot easier. You know,
having like even like a tangential relationship with who it is that you're trying to negotiate with, or like you've used their products or services before, that definitely goes like a long way in negotiating for things, especially whenever you are the one that's trying to reach out to them. The other thing is like generally value. It started to kill me like a little bit more and more over time, but so many people just want to be given a sponsor. They just want to be given a brand deal, and they're not offering the brand much else in return. And this can go both ways. Like it could be like, hey, I'm like the best player at X game, and the brand's like, cool, here's a jersey. And that can go the other way where it's just like, hey, I want like paid travel to events, I want sponsored gear, I want all this stuff, and then they're like, bro, you have like 5 followers.
Yeah, it's I feel like a lot of creators don't really have a realistic picture of how those things work. They just don't. So they just kind of like ask for the most, and it's like you wonder why they're not very eager about, you know, dipping into those kind of content creators as sponsors.
A lot of creators really don't have like a really good understanding of what it is that they're like actually worth. And the thing about social media is that it's really hard to like kind of quantify that. Like I talked before about like the importance of not just having an audience, but also having just like an engaged audience in general. When you're working with a brand and they're trying to push a general product, or they're trying to get you to say do like a sponsored post, which I've done on a couple of different occasions, if they're going to be paying you for these sort of services, you need to have an actual understanding of what it is that you are actually going to be worth. Because otherwise, if you don't know what your value is, you will 100% be ripped off all the time. Like all the time. Say you have like 5,000 followers. This is my favorite figure for today. They like most of your posts. They share most of your posts, whatever. Like a brand's coming over and it's like, hey, promote your product in X tweets or X video, and we will pay you like $100 for said tweet. And then you might go like, yeah, sure. I'll just like, this is like a 180 character thing for $100. Nope, no problem. But then little do you know, like the link that you're sending them to and the product that you're pushing them to, you might be making them like 10x, like 20x, like the amount of money that they even paid you in order for you to even like advertise this thing to your audience. So you got $100 from this thing. They may have gotten anywhere from like 1,000 to even like tens of thousands of dollars from that thing, and you just get completely ripped off, and you don't even know because you don't even see that other side of the transaction.
Nope. You sure don't. I've turned away most for that reason. Yeah, I'm like, no thanks. No thanks. No thanks. No. Now if a charity reaches out, I'm like, I'll do anything for charity. I'll step on 40 Legos for a charity. But like
for nonprofits, it's a completely different scenario. But if you're working with like a traditional like for-profit business, like they are making money from you promoting them, you very, very seriously want to consider this.
I may have said no to too many. Maybe that's my problem, but you know.
honestly, there is a benefit to saying no. Even when you start getting these offers, you don't want to take literally everything that comes your way. Because if one day you are promoting, like, I don't know, like you're promoting Bud Light one day, and then you're promoting like a different brand of desks the next, or you're promoting like some random mobile game, people catch on that you're not being like true to yourself. And like you take so many brand deals, and people start to question, like, do you actually use like a lot of the things that it is that you're actually doing? Have you actually like genuinely looked into it? And that's an important thing to consider. Like, brands are doing research into you, you should do research into them. If they're if they're a product that you use, then great, you already endorse it, you have a lot of experience with it, you can genuinely speak from the heart about how you feel about that particular product and about that particular brand. If Elgato were to sponsor me for using their Wave microphone, I would love it, because this is the best microphone I've ever used. The software is great. I can separate everything out into individual mixes. It's made running tournaments and managing different audio channels a lot easier with the way how the Wavelength software works. Fits right in on my Stream Deck and everything. It just kind of works. It's a product I can speak genuinely about because it's a product I actually use. But if I were to, like, I don't know, promote like looking around my room for something I like barely use. If I were selling like guitars or something, I have a guitar, I barely use it. Am I an authority on it? Is that a thing that I'm known for? No.
Nope.
So why would I bring a sponsor like that to my audience that's focused on like arcade sticks and fighting games? There's no correlation there. It just doesn't make sense.
That's the main reason I've turned away most of my sponsor opportunities, because they're like, hey, do you want to sponsor X game? And I'm like, homie, I do like horror games. nobody's gonna buy your stuff. I'm flattered that you think that like you approached me with a sponsor, but like, I'm being rude with you. Like, this is the wrong audience. And it makes me wonder if they do research on me. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, it's a two-way street. It sounds like they didn't do their research on me.
Sometimes they just like pull from like the top viewership list of like a given platform, and then just like mass send out emails to a whole bunch of people. And you could usually tell based on how those emails are formatted. Like
there's somebody offered me to like, I'll pay you to stream like a sports game. And I'm like, do you know my audience? You know
sports?
What? Like, hello? I'm like, dude, that's usually the kind of offers I get, and I'm just like, no, because like what you're saying is like, nobody in my community would care about that, and I don't care about it. Right. Like, I don't play a lot of sports games. Like, I'd be solely doing it for the blood money, you know. And then people would see that and be like, why are you interested in blood money? Like, what's wrong with you? So yeah. I would say no to those.
Honestly, if you're going to take any kind of sponsored deal, only take the things that you know you would actually care about and would actually use. The relationship that you have with your audience, as has been the theme throughout this discussion, the relationship that you have with them is so valuable, and you don't want to ruin it by just pushing things onto them that you don't genuinely care about, and you're only in.
They're not guinea pigs. They're your friends. Don't do that. They're not a number. They're your homies. Don't do it.
They is your homie.
I think a good way to think of streaming is like, you know, when you were kids, like your friend would come over, or your brother would watch you play a game. Just imagine that with like a lot of people. Yeah. Would you just turn around and go, hi, would you like to buy a guitar? And everybody's like, what? Who? What? Now if you're like, hey guys, you want to buy candy? And they'd be like, oh, we like candy, you know, it's different. You wouldn't do that to a party full of people. Don't do it don't do your Twitch viewers.
Don't do that. So just to sum it up, be yourself, know the topics you need to avoid, be true to what it is that you represent as a creator and as a person, and knowing all of those things, try and find a way to give yourself like a monetary value to your worth. There's a really good YouTuber that I follow called Devin Nash. Before he stopped streaming on Twitch, he was the #1 business digital marketer on the platform of Twitch, and now he does primarily YouTube content. High level marketer for understanding things going on in the digital marketing and digital media space. He did a really fantastic video about how creators can understand and determine their actual worth, and I will include that in the description of this video as well. And it could be a little card that could be on screen up here.
Yeah.
So if you guys have enjoyed this discussion, you can of course always follow me just by clicking on the subscribe button right here. Be sure to like, comment. If you have any opinions about some of the stuff that we've talked about, be sure to leave that down there as well. Also make sure to check out my homie Headache's channel. You can find that right here. If you just click on the little doobly-doo thing on screen. Much like myself, he does a lot of stuff in the content creation space with a really big focus on Dead by Daylight and various different horror games. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, be sure to check out his channel as well. Thank you guys very much for watching. I've been ShaolinPretzels, joined by Headache, and we'll see you in our respective videos.